there, so that we've got this for future. And then please, you're very welcome to ask any questions as we go. So welcome today. It's so nice to have you all here virtually, and thank goodness we can all connect virtually. Our Wi-Fi was down this morning, and I just wonder how life would be without Wi-Fi. It would be very different. So anyway, thank goodness we've got this option. So please, this is interactive, and I'd love you to ask questions. I'd love you to give your experiences. You've all been using the oils, some of you for a lot longer than others. And it's always nice to hear other people's experiences. So, and some are just literally have got their oils today and this weekend. So that's why we had originally set up this mixing thing. Okay, so I thought I'd go through the routine of my day, how I'm using the oils, especially at the moment, and then also go through some of my favorite rollers and how we make those, and how, and also then some tips and hacks on the different oils, which are quite fun. And I will actually send out, I've actually drawn up a lot of it. I don't have them all beautifully set out like Dom did. But in fact, Didi's ladies, I must forward you this. I must forward you what Dom sent today. It's also a lovely. It's a much more beautiful thing than I can create. Mine is writing, but this is to put on your fridge and also to inspire you. So I'll send that out to Didi's group. Okay. So just to get started. So I always start, and I have started our day for years, with a drop of lemon in water. I used to squeeze lemon, and obviously homegrown lemons are divine, but so I'll put a drop of lemon in water, in warm water. I do boil the kettle, but then I add a little bit of cold water and add the lemon. If you put in the lemon into very hot water, it's so volatile that it can actually, well, it just evaporates quite quickly. So I just cool it down a little bit to put it in. The lemon is hugely detoxing. It helps to draw any toxins that are in our bodies. It also helps to settle our stomachs and helps with digestion. And the main thing it does is it alkalizes our bodies. So although lemon is actually acidic, when it's metabolized, it actually becomes alkaline. So it's acidic, it's about a pH of 2 outside the body, but once it goes into the body, it alkalizes the body, and it goes up to a pH of over 7. So our main defense against stopping ourselves getting sick is having a more alkaline pH in our bodies. Sugar, meat, carbs, all those sort of things acidify our bodies, and we have far too much acid in our bodies. So this is a really good way of just starting the day and with a detox and alkalizing one's body. And so that's how we start with that. And then
can I just ask, it's Lauren, can I just ask you, kids as well, so does everyone get one drop?
No, so I don't do it for our kids. I do it a bit for Philippa, our daughter, who's now 13. She doesn't like it too much. I will, with the kids, I'll often put a drop in a water bottle, which is a bigger, it's slightly more diffused. So we'll put a water bottle, it must be stainless steel or glass, but obviously for kids, the glass water bottles aren't great, but in a stainless steel. So often I'll have that in my car as I'm driving around, and they'll sip from that when they come home from school or something like that. So they do get some, but not as strong. And they don't like it as much. But for adults, I think it's really important. So welcome everyone who's just coming on. And I was just saying the very first thing is just using a drop of lemon in water to help alkalize the body. And then using water, having a bottle of water that we carry around with a drop of water in it. A drop of lemon in it. And just to also suggest that if you have moved on from your smaller set and you now have bigger ones, it's quite nice to actually take off the lids. I'll just show you here, to take off the top, and you just put it under, thanks Pips, use the lid underneath this plastic stopper, and you just squeeze it out like that. I'm not sure if you can actually see. So it comes out and you can just take out the plastic stopper, and then you can sort of share your oils between, so take off the plastic stopper on this one and put half. So we have a small bottle of lemon at our bar because we have it in our gin and tonics. I have one in the kitchen, and then we've got a kettle upstairs that I make hot water for us in the morning, and so I've got a bottle there. But it's just that if you use your, they don't even have to be the lemon bottles, but so you can reuse your bottles. So that's lemon, and please do ask any questions along the way, like Lols just did. And I think you can just press the space bar if you're on your computer, or otherwise just unmute yourself. Okay.
Next.
Yeah.
With the lemon, is it only effective if it's on an empty stomach in the morning?
No, it's also effective during the day, but it's most effective on an empty stomach. It just settles your body and helps you to start the day being more alkaline, but it's very effective during the day. And it really is something, a friend of mine in Australia, she'd bought just a bottle of lemon retail because some of the health stores bought it there, sold it there, and she just went mad on her lemon. But she said she couldn't believe how much, she's always had digestive issues, she said she couldn't believe how much her stomach had improved by just having lemon regularly. She also actually, a nice tip from her was that she put the lemon, like a drop of lemon, in her hummus. It's nice to put in baking. It just lifts everything up. And I'll go through all the oils towards the end, lots of tips and tools for them. But yeah, it's very good for digestive stuff. And if one's had digestive issues, starting the day with lemon and then having a drop in a water bottle during the day is really good. Okay, then at the moment, the next thing that we're doing, and we usually do this when it's cold and flu season, is I've gotten rollers of On Guard, of a roller and spray bottles. So we're starting the morning by putting a roller under our feet and on our hands. So for those of you new to it and who want to mix some things now, you wedge open the lid. So I'll just show you on, this one's actually, so you wedge open the lid using your thumb and just push it around. My hands are now also oily. Okay, and then take your On Guard and putting sort of, probably for an adult, I would put 15 drops into your roller. So putting 15 drops into that, and also into the spray bottle, I'd also just put 15 drops into the spray bottle. With the roller, I would then fill that up with fractionated coconut oil, which you should have got in your little starter kit, which is the coconut oil with the fat taken out. With the spray bottle, I'd just put a splash of coconut oil, let's say like a teaspoon, and then fill it up with filtered water or any water. So
how big is that spray?
This is just, all our spray bottles are 30 ml bottles. So you can make a big spray bottle, like this sort of a size spray bottle. And in this one, I would probably put between 20 and 30 drops. So you don't have to sort of double it out and think you have to put 300 drops for something 10 times bigger. Do you know what I'm saying? Anyway, so you put 15 drops in here, and in a bigger bottle, I'd put between 20 or 30 would be more than enough. Okay, so we use the rollers on our hands and feet just waking up. Sometimes I'll even put them on my glands or around my throat, or for the kids, especially if someone's been coughing or sneezing a little bit, we'll just always do that. And I get them just to inhale, just like while they're waking up, just taking in a few deep breaths. Now I've made them each one, and they've got one next to their beds. And so they put it on themselves in the morning and in the evening. I think, you know, they're more diligent now because knowing what's going on. Normally they wouldn't do it themselves. I just do it for them. So that's that. I'll talk a little bit more about the spray bottles and when I'm using them when I'm out and about the alcohol ones and non-alcohol ones in a moment. But so the first thing is a drop of lemon in water, and then the On Guard under hands and feet. Then our morning coffee, we actually make like a bulletproof coffee. So we make a plunger, and I add in some superfood things like chaga mushrooms and cacao. I just add a teaspoon of each, which are very good for immunity. But I then will add just a little bit of coconut oil, like a teaspoon of coconut oil, and then I use a drop of peppermint so we have a drop of peppermint, and you could do a drop of copaiba, because that's a huge anti-inflammatory oil, and I'll talk a little bit more about copaiba later. So I use turmeric when I can get turmeric, but we don't have turmeric in South Africa yet, and so I'll do otherwise peppermint and copaiba, and then we add a bit of coconut oil and then we have it with cream if I can get organic cream, or otherwise just black or with milk. So that's what we like with our coffee. It's a nice way to start the day. And then sometimes while we're putting the peppermint in the coffee, we'll put the peppermint on ourselves or on our kids, especially if they're feeling a bit narfy and grumpy in the morning. It seems to help them quite a lot. Any questions there? Okay, so then also once so in your pack, and if you didn't get one, let us know, and I've got a supply of them, and we can get them from Dom at Oil Up, these little droppers. So I will also start the morning by taking a drop of copaiba under my tongue, and again, copaiba is a very strong anti-inflammatory. In fact, it's a good time for me to tell you a bit about copaiba. It's very good for calming a busy mind, so it's good for anxiety. This is doTERRA's equivalent of CBD oil. It's not CBD oil. It's comes from the copaiba trees, which are in Brazil, and so it's harvested from these trees in Brazil. It doesn't have any THC, which are the hallucinogenic properties of CBD oil. So it doesn't have any of those sort of side effects at all, but it's more direct acting on the receptor sites than CBD oil is. So it actually works very directly. I can go into the whole science behind it, and this is something that I was really impressed at the convention about the science and research that's going on around copaiba and the copaiba CBD comparisons, but they can also work together because they work differently. CBD is far more general, works more generally, but also something to bear in mind with CBD oil is that it's not regulated like essential oils. There's no one checking the quality of the CBD oil, where it's from, anything like that. So you have to really do your research and find good quality CBD oil. But so this is a much safer option in terms of not having any of the hallucinogenic effects. So some of the properties of it are, it's just hugely anti-inflammatory. So calms a busy mind. It helps with pain and inflammation, with arthritis and gout, muscle cramps. It's also detoxing, so for liver toxicity and respiratory issues. It's very good for the chest. So this copaiba is one of the ones that's included, a big bottle of it's included in that seasonal defense kit that doTERRA has just launched, which is available to us for 1,100. It's bundled together, the 5 oils, and I'll tell you which ones I know, or it is 1,300 for people who haven't enrolled yet. So it's very good for respiratory stuff and sore throats, bedwetting and incontinence, colitis and intestinal infections, and then cancer and autoimmune disorders, especially combined with frankincense. So I'll talk a little bit more about that, but in the evening, so in the morning, I take a drop of this under my tongue, and in the evening, I'll take a drop of it and a drop of frankincense. And I've got this all. I can send this to you on our group if you don't want to take notes. It just is not looking pretty at this stage, but it will be a reminder.
So you also do that for your kids?
I haven't yet, and I think it would probably be a bit strong for small kids. What I would do instead is, so Dom talked about it in her video this morning on this on her CTA. I'd rather give them a drop on their hands and get them to inhale it, or put a drop under their feet and rub it onto the bottoms of their feet, because it is very good. So all the tree oils like frankincense and copaiba are very good for grounding and are very good for anxiety. Just think of the energy of a tree. So I would just use it topically, or mix it with some of the other oils, which I'll tell you about as we go. How you can replace frankincense. Pardon?
Did you put it in your On Guard roller for the kids?
Yeah, you could. Absolutely.
And then what would you do? Just put like how many drops?
probably 5 drops of it. It's a bit like frankincense, so it up levels every other oil. And so you don't need that much of it, and it's much cheaper than frankincense. So it makes all the other oils more effective, and you can definitely put it in your On Guard roller. It's a good idea.
Thanks.
So, yeah, so Dom talked about just putting a drop and smelling it in the, inhaling it in the mornings as a sort of way to calm and settle. Okay, so then when we brush our teeth, I use the On Guard toothpaste since it's been out. It's just, for me, it's a lot less toxic load than the mainstream meds toothpaste, and it's got a whitening effect. So I like that too, and it's got On Guard in it, and it's got a whole lot of other essential oils which protect one's mouth, protect against bacteria and things. And then something I've really enjoyed is, and this was Dom's idea, she also did it on a CTA Saturday, is, so I just take any bottles that we've got left over and put water in it. This has got a bit of oil in it, but I'll just top it up with a bit more oil. So just some fractionated coconut oil, also about a teaspoon to a tablespoon, so that the oils will bind. And then in Dom's recipe, she talked about doing 10 drops of peppermint. So this one, and then 5 drops of On Guard and 1 drop of Melaleuca if you've got something going on in your mouth, if you've got any sores or any like infectious bits. But if you, because of what's going on at the moment, I'll probably decrease the peppermint a little bit and then increase the On Guard. So that's, or there, I think I put 10 in there. And then On Guard, I'd probably put now, instead of 5, I'll probably put about 8. So I have made this for our kids too. I made it a bit weaker. I didn't put as many oils in, and then I didn't add the Melaleuca, but they are all using it after brushing their teeth too. My Melaleuca's finished. Yeah, I've got a small one. So they've each got one next to their basins, and as I said, I didn't add the Melaleuca and I didn't make it as strong. I probably halved the dose. And then whenever you use it, you shake it up like this, and then you just take a swig of it after brushing teeth and swill it around in your mouth. I mean, there's the whole practice of oil pulling, so it's beneficial to have the coconut oil in your mouth anyway. This isn't as concentrated, so swilling it around in your mouth and then spitting it out, and it leaves your mouth feeling really refreshed, and then also you've got a dose of On Guard. So I don't swallow it, I just spit it out. You could swallow it. I mean, they're all safe oils to swallow, but I haven't. I usually spit it out. Any questions there?
Sorry, can you, I just missed that. I know I have been making it. I just want to check that I've been doing it correctly. How many drops did you do of each? I heard about them.
Yeah, I think Dom's recipe was originally 10 peppermint, 5 On Guard, and 1 Melaleuca if you've got something going on in your mouth or you want to protect your mouth a bit more, like if you've got any cuts or sores or a propensity for cold sores or anything like that. I would have probably decreased about 8 peppermint and 8 On Guard, like up the On Guard and decrease the peppermint a bit. But you can also just play around with it yourself. It depends how strong you want it or not want it. You can taste all the oils in it very, very quickly. So that's our like morning routine of the lemon in the water, On Guard rollers under hands and feet, the coffee with peppermint and copaiba or drop of copaiba under the tongue, and then toothbrushing and the mouthwash. Okay, and then yeah.
Quick question for the mouthwash for the kids. You said you half the dosages,
yeah.
And if they swallow it, it's fine, right?
Yes, exactly. It's absolutely fine because they're just having a small mouthful, and if they swallow, peppermint is a great digestive. It's good for your stomach. It's good for nausea. On Guard is very good immune protective. It's fine to swallow. It's good for if I'm getting a sore throat. I'll tell you about this now. I'll take a drop of On Guard under my tongue, but for kids that's too strong usually.
Yeah.
And the Melaleuca, I'd probably leave it out of kids' ones because it's a bit bitter, but they can swallow that too. So there's nothing that you need to worry about. And coconut oil and water is the rest.
Okay, and sorry, just one more question. The On Guard roller dosages for kids. I know it's 15 drops for adults.
Yes. So
for kids,
what age kids are you looking at, Trace?
4 and 8.
4 and 8. Let me just see if I've got my diluting chart here, which I can resend to you guys. Here we go. So for 4 to 8, so 1 to 4, your total drops are usually 5 to 12 drops. And then 6 to 11, it's 5 to 15. So, I mean, you could do in your roller, you could do like 10 drops, 10 or 12, and it'd be fine for both.
Okay, thank you.
Asia.
And so next, in the mouthwash, how much water, well, how big are your bottles that you use?
This one is 250 mils. The kids' ones are bigger, but I just found any bottles, like these are old macadamia oil, olive oil, like old bottles. So that's 250 mils with 10 drops. But you can, you just fiddle around with it and see what feels nice for you. If it feels like it's too strong, then just separate it out and just top up with water and coconut oil.
Okay, thanks.
There's something else. Oh, I was going to give you also a little bit of an idea for those who've got very young children. What you could also do is just make a plain roller bottle, like just with fractionated coconut oil. So then when you have your On Guard that's got 15 drops, but you've got a child who can only really have 5 to 10 drops, you can just do the plain roller bottle on top. So apply the roller bottle with just coconut oil first, and then you apply the one with On Guard or whatever it is you're using, because then that automatically dilutes it. Does that make sense? So that or you can have a little tub, I mean to bring down my tub of just plain coconut oil. So I always have a little glass jar next to my oils in our bathroom, and I fill that up with coconut oil just from Woolies, the organic one. And then if you've got a young child that you've got your 15 drop roller bottle or even 20 drop roller bottle, you can then just take a swipe of the coconut oil, put it on their skin, and then add the stronger roller. So you're diluting it like that. So you don't have to have roller bottles for everyone. You can just use those two methods to dilute the adult strength roller bottles.
Next, what's the issue with giving them the kids too much? Is it a problem?
No, it's more that so I was going to talk about we need to drink lots of water, because essential oils hugely flush toxins from our system, and they really help improve our body's processes. So we can kind of overload our bodies if we're not drinking water. You want to think about, if you've got stuff you're trying to get rid of, you drink a lot of water. So kids, I don't think putting it on topically is too much. Internally, it would be a bit strong. Topically, if it was a hotter oil, or some of them are a bit more sensitive, might become a bit itchy or a little bit of a rash, and then you can just put extra coconut oil on. But it's just that not overloading our systems. But I mean, I think when we overloading our systems with some of the chemicals we're using, so that for me, that's far more concerning, that our bodies are having to process all these chemicals now, especially all these hand sanitizer chemicals. So I would rather use a stronger On Guard and not worry, not use as many chemicals. Does that make sense, Lols? It's more, yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. So I think that's, I wouldn't be too concerned. I just wouldn't put like 20 or 30 drop roller on kids, which I would think is too much. But mine, which has got 15 drops, I use for our little Finn who's 9, and it's absolutely fine. But just when we're using oils with our kids, also to encourage them to drink water, which they should be doing anyway. Yeah. Okay, so now the hand sanitizers, the crucial thing. And it's been quite interesting. One of our people on my group, I'm on a group with other wellness advocates, and this one lady, Shasta, is quite an incredible woman. She's been doing this sort of home research thing with her daughter, and agar plates, and cultivating bacteria, and then treating with different things. And she's had really good results with her On Guard. She said that Dettol sterilizing soap did almost very little. She also had amazing results with lavender. She said that was quite astounding and something that was quite surprising. But so aside from those pictures I've sent our group on how effective the On Guard is compared to some of the bleaches and disinfectants, know that it does really work. And there's a lot of compliance issues around what we can and can't say in a public space in terms of claims that can be made around if something is antiviral and can kill viruses and bacteria. So one's very cautious. You won't see a lot of those claims, but in this sort of space, I can tell you that it is very strongly antiviral and antibacterial. So again, a 30 ml bottle like this, I've put 15 drops, a little bit of coconut oil, and mostly filled up with water. You can do half water and half something like witch hazel. So witch hazel you can get from a pharmacy or a health shop. Witch hazel is just a little bit lighter, so it makes it a little bit of a lighter spray and might make the oils last longer. But I mean, it's not like our oils are going to be sitting in here for months on end. We're going through these things very quickly now. So you can do it with witch hazel. I use mostly just my water ones. I've got one in my bag. I've got one in the car that sits in the car whenever I get into or out the car. Obviously, we're not going in and out the car that much these days, but into or out the car. When job drives, we're spraying our hands. I'm even spraying the steering wheel. I use it when I'm interacting with anyone. When I made the pack for people to get oils and things, I've put On Guard on wash my hands, put On Guard on spray my hands first. And it's not depleting. It's not taking away our good bacteria as well. And so you can use it as often as you want, and it's really protective, and obviously encouraging you to use both sides of your hands, and for our kids too. So you can make an alcohol spray. We've managed to get some alcohol that's 99% purity, but it's we were trying to get a second batch, but the government has now claimed all the alcohol 99% purity. We're trying to get others that are a little bit more diluted, which aren't as good, but probably better than nothing. I do have an alcohol spray, which I use if I'm out and about, if I had to touch trolleys or if I can't wash my hands. The alcohol spray is very protective, but it can take away our good bacteria as well, it's a little bit like the analogy with antibiotics. Antibiotics are wonderfully useful in the times where we really need them, but they do come at a cost, and they strip our body of our good bacteria as well. And the same with any of these alcohol-based sanitizers, is that we're stripping our good bacteria as well, which is our protective bacteria. So everyone really wants to be cautious and rather use the water-based ones a lot, and then the alcohol-based ones as and when. And I'm trying to get some more. I'm hoping to get some more alcohol. I'll let you know if I do, and then we can arrange for people to be able to collect or something like that to make your own alcohol-based ones. Any questions there? Oh, one thing with the On Guard spray, one can also use it in one's mouth. So again, if I've been around people or anything like that, I'll spray it on my hands, in my mouth, because those are all the mucous membranes. I won't spray it in my nose. That's a bit, the mucous membranes are a bit sensitive, but that's where viruses sit, and that's where they take hold. So you can easily put it in your mouth, and I put it in our kids' mouths easily and very happily. They don't worry about that. It's also good for, obviously, if you're getting a sore throat or anything like that, also helps. I mean, this was applied so before this whole corona outbreak, I used something like this on a plane with me. I sprayed the seats, the table, I sprayed everything around me. I'd spray quite often during the flight, but mine I'd also added a little bit of lemon and a drop or two of Melaleuca. And then when our throats got dry from flying, I'd spray in our mouths too, so just as an extra protection. So obviously not doing that now, but this is for beyond the school. Any questions?
Next, is the sanitizer like the mouthwash where you just kind of feel it out, or is it a specific formula?
Yeah, so the sanitizer is also, you mean it's 50, so I've done in a 30 ml bottle, I do 15 drops of the On Guard and a little bit of like a splash of coconut oil and the rest water. And you would do the same. So for the alcohol-based ones, you would do this exactly the same, but you do half alcohol, half water. Okay, and then I've also really I got the foaming soap. I have very sensitive, very dry skin. So I find when as a physio, we have to wash our hands all the time. And I found that really contributed to my eczema when I was struggling, because it would take away all my good oils and my hands would crack a lot. And this is such a nice foaming spray. You can dilute it. They say, put it full strength, but you can actually dilute it up to a third. If you're working in an environment where you want to protect yourself more, maybe you then keep it concentrated. But for your day-to-day washing around the house and things like that, you can definitely dilute it. And that's something that I've actually really enjoyed, and it hasn't affected my hands like that. So it's gentle but powerful. Okay, any questions there? Okay, so then the next point.
Nick, I've got a question. Is that Nick?
Yeah.
Sorry, it's Jackie.
Yes.
I've got a question. Is that On Guard spray, is that the same as the throat spray, like the sore throat spray?
Yeah,
or
basically it is.
Throat spray a different mix?
No, it's basically the same as this throat spray. So the throat spray, I think I did 10 drops of On Guard, 5 of lemon, and like 1 or 2 of Melaleuca. But this one's more 15 drops of On Guard, but you could add a little bit of lemon, okay, and you could add Melaleuca. They both, lemon and Melaleuca, are also powerfully antiviral. Powerfully.
Okay.
So you can. That's where one can.
And then you just spray it.
Yeah. Sorry, Jax. You can just spray it.
Sorry, and then you can spray it directly into the back of the throat.
Yeah. Yeah. You hold it upright.
How often would you do that?
I do it more if I've been in contact with someone. If I've got a sore throat, then I do it like every hour.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Oh, okay, that often. Okay, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It was like someone complaining of a sore throat. So yeah. Hourly.
Yeah, I do it hourly. Yeah, along with a few other things like On Guard around here and yes, like a Flume roller and things. We can chat.
A Flume or something. Yeah.
I'll talk more about that as we go through rollers.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Okay, then my next point, which we've discussed already, is drinking lots of water when using the oils, and water with lemon or with wild orange. That's also really nice to put in, this nice citrus oil to put in water, and that's in that new seasonal pack is a big thing of wild orange, which I'll talk about in a moment. Citrus Bliss is one that was on the BOGOs last year, so quite a few people got that. That's the only one you don't ingest. All the other citrus oils you can ingest, and citrus oils are very uplifting, and they're good for mood. Yeah, so when, like I said, the tree oils are more grounding and good for anxiety and things, the citrus oils are good for mood, and they're quite uplifting and good for detoxing. So it's just Citrus Bliss that you can only that one you diffuse, but the others you can take internally. And then at the end of my day, I would take, like I mentioned before, I'll take a drop of frankincense under my tongue and a drop of copaiba under my tongue. Some people find that a bit strong, and they'd rather put it in a veggie capsule, which I'll go through just now. So you can do that. And then I'll just have some water afterwards if I want to. So, and then I'll also put a drop of frankincense in my night cream, or I use like an argan oil or a jojoba oil, and I'll take this dropper and put a drop of frankincense in it and then rub it around. It's so good for cell regeneration, so good for general cellular health, so good for helping to sleep and things like that. But it's good for wrinkles and anti-aging and things. So I'll do that and smell it at the same time. So that's frankincense at night. I'll also put On Guard on our feet again, and like when I'm putting kids to bed, I'll say, have you put your On Guard on your feet? So I get them to put it on again. And then if anyone's starting to get a scratchy throat or anything like that, anyone's starting to get sick, we always do the Flume, which I've made, which I'll talk about in my rollers as we're going through rollers. And we'd put that around our throats and things if it's a scratchy throat. Okay, any questions there? Okay, so my favorite roller recipes. So this is my little bag that I found, which is very convenient. They all stand upright in here. Just to also say that doTERRA now also have the stickers. So if you are doing an order and you put in the search bar, just put stickers, and then it will come up and you can get the stickers, which makes it a lot easier. I'm so pleased they finally got them. So, oh dear. Just now. You can call Job. Well, friend, you can call Job. There's a bird stuck in our vegetable garden. So my On Guard roller, I'll take with me everywhere, even before this happens. So for proactive health, building immune system at first sign of illness. So we've discussed the On Guard one. The next one I love taking is the ZenGest one, or DigestZen it used to be called. So this, you can again just pop it open and make a roller with 15 drops of ZenGest. So if you have major digestive issues, maybe you want to make it 20 drops. If it's for a child, or if it's for your children, maybe just 10 drops. But again, 15 drops is usually fine. So the ZenGest roller, so if someone's got a sore tummy on the way to school and they say, Mommy, my tummy's sore, then I have this always with me. Say, like, lift your shirt, I rub it on their tummy, and put it in a circular clockwise direction, and then onto the belly button as well. The belly button's highly perfused, and so it distributes very quickly around the body and around the gut and digestive tract. So, and then I'll give it to them to take with them to school as well. It's also good for motion sickness. So inhaling it, if someone's feeling sick in the car, I've got this that they can help, or put it on some of the pulse points. You can also, for very blocked sinuses, use this, and you just don't put it too close to the eyes because it's quite strong, but you rub it around on the side to break down mucus, because it helps it to regulate. It helps to break down mucus, so it brings the body back to homeostasis. So it doesn't matter if you've got bloating or constipation or diarrhea, you can just you can use the same ZenGest roller. Any questions there? So you can also just use it neat, like if you're at home and your tummy's feeling bloated, you can literally just turn the bottle over, put it on your hand and rub it around on your tummy. And it really is very helpful with bloating and digestion. If you're feeling nauseous or tummy bug sort of stuff, you can put a drop in a little bit of water and drink it. Or you can make because some people don't like the smell of it, you can make one of these little capsules. So the capsules, you can get these empty capsules from Dis-Chem. You just ask for empty caps or veggie caps. There are more and more that are also more natural vegetable based ones that one can get, and they come as empty capsules, and you can open them up. Then let's say you're doing your DigestZen, you can use that dropper and take a little drop of DigestZen and then put it into here, and then you just close the capsule and you can swallow it like that, so that you're not tasting the oils. And that's quite good to do things like oregano and oils. And especially if you're getting sick or are sick, this is a really good way. You can do your own flume. You can put the whole flume remedy. What I would do is make it into a bottle or jar. And it says the recipe on the handout, but put the drops like we do for a roller. You put it into a bottle or jar, and then you add coconut oil in it to dilute it. And then it's here. And then every time you want to have one, you then use your dropper to put it in and can have it. I haven't used them that much. My parents kept them in the fridge and they lasted a few days. Other people say you should then use them straight away. Any questions there? Okay. So my Breathe roller, I also keep with me. This is for like if we're going to do exercise, if I'm going to do a workout, for people whose children have asthma, they can use it on their chest. But also remember, because it's not just on our chest, it's also under our feet that it's really effective. And our feet, oils are distributed very quickly to our whole bodies. You know, that's the whole theory of putting Vicks on your feet as well. When you're coughing and when we were sick, putting it on your feet is actually also very powerful. So I also use it under the nose to help with snotty noses, tight chest, snoring, also under the feet and front and back of the chest. Also can just rub it into the palms and use it and inhale deeply 3 times. And then there's in that little pack that we also give, there's a little jar. and you can put thicker coconut oil in that. It's just a little small little jar, and you can put sort of 10 drops of Breathe and make more of a almost chest paste. So you can put Breathe, and also remember that Copaiba is very good for chest too. So you can put like 10 drops of Breathe and 5 drops of Copaiba into that little jar. In fact, Dom had mentioned that in one of her here in her chest balm. This was her seasonal defense kit, which we got on our group. And she put 5 drops of Breathe and 2 drops of Copaiba with coconut oil just as a chest vapor. But if you're making a bigger tub, you can sort of double those amounts.
Next, would you also put that, what's it, Deep Blue? What's it called?
Deep Blue is very good for if they've been coughing quite a lot and they're a bit sore from coughing, and it's quite good for opening up the chest, but it's more of a muscular thing and sort of the muscular and rib inflammation, not as much for like opening up the internal airways. It's more for opening up the rib space. Yeah, so you could do that definitely.
So you wouldn't put that into your chest rub though?
Yeah, you could actually, but I would literally then just put like 2 drops of Deep Blue. I wouldn't put a huge amount. Aroma Touch is also a very nice one that I use quite a lot with our kids when they were sick. I'd use Aroma Touch and Breathe as well, because that's very nice for opening up the chest and for not feeling so sore. If they're feeling a bit sore and tight on their chest and it's sore to cough, then definitely I would add a bit more Deep Blue or Aroma Touch. Okay. So the next roller that I keep on me here is actually Deep Blue. Yeah. So this one I've done sort of 15 to 20 drops of the Deep Blue and then the fractionated coconut oil. But then for someone with arthritis, I would probably put like 30 to 40 drops. And then they would use that. And then I'd also add like either 5 drops of frankincense or 5 drops of Copaiba, because those hugely, again, up level the oil. So they're both in their own right very anti-inflammatory. So then give that to someone for their, like for sore fingers, and yeah, if people are really struggling with their joints, I would put it with Deep Blue and Frank, or Deep Blue and Copaiba. But we just keep this for all our bumps and bruises, for someone gets hurt at sport, if someone gets in the car and they say this is sore, that's sore, if I'm feeling like my shoulders are tense and I've been stressed or I'm driving a lot, then I'll put that up and down my shoulders. And also you can put it in the front of your neck. So this is my physio tip to you. So often when we get headaches, we feel them at the back of our heads and we feel like they're coming from this part of our neck, but actually they come from a muscle called sternocleidomastoid that comes and attaches up in the back here, but it comes down into the front here. It's often, some people have quite visible sternocleidomastoid. And when I am getting a headache, I'll rub into this muscle that comes down here and find these little gentle trigger points and trigger point those, and it helps enormously. I discovered more about this when we were doing our acupuncture course, and I was actually the model, and they were trying to do acupuncture on this muscle here, and the acupuncture, the physio who was taking it said, this is a very emotional muscle. This is where we hold our emotions. So like she said, often if you needle someone there, they'll burst into tears, which I was hoping I wasn't going to do in front of this whole physio course. But I think when we're feeling emotionally stressed and emotionally anxious, this muscle is our like holding on muscle. So use your Deep Blue to put it up and down the front as well. Even though this never feels tight, it always feels like it's coming from the back. It can really help to relieve headaches as well. Okay. Then the next roller is peppermint. So again, I'll do 15 to 20 drops of peppermint, and then the rest fractionated coconut oil. This is good for headaches. So if you've got a headache, putting it across the front of your forehead or pulse points, or putting it at the back of your neck. It's good for those hot flashes, menopausal flashes. That you can also just do a neat drop of peppermint and put it on you. Or yeah, I find this is also helpful for keeping me awake if I'm driving and doing a long drive. I'll put on peppermint quite often. You can put a little bit on your hand and then lick it, and you get this sort of zing of minty taste in your mouth. Or if you've got a bad taste in your mouth after lunch or something like that, it's quite nice to just put that and lick it. Then, I mean, at this time when we're not meant to be touching our faces, maybe don't count that, but I don't know. I'm still touching my face. I'm just using lots of On Guard. So I just find it enormously hard to not touch my face. So yeah, it's also good for fevers. So if a little one is getting a fever, or if we're feeling like we're getting hot and feverish, it's good for putting under feet and up and down the spine, the back of the neck. Is very, peppermint helps to cool. And it's not the same as pushing down the fever and suppressing the fever, because we do want to raise temperature. That's what kills the viruses. As we're learning more and more, or as becoming more public knowledge, heat is one of our best defense mechanisms, because the virus doesn't flourish in heat. So when we spend time trying to take down fevers with Calpols and things like that, sometimes we're actually doing ourselves a disservice. That we feel more comfortable in the short term, but the virus can perpetuate and can continue. So it's better to use something like peppermint, which cools us down, but not to such an extent. Does that make sense? Any questions there? And then my favorite, yeah.
Sorry, are these all like 15 drops and then the rest coconut oil?
Yeah, that's what I do for all mine. Yeah, except for something like a deep blue, if it's for more arthritic. Yeah. Okay, so then sorry.
Do you then mix 10 to 5, or do you mix 15 plus 5?
For what?
Like if you're mixing, like let's say your deep blue, where you said you put Frank with it.
If it's an adult, I'd probably do 15 of deep blue and then 5 of Copaiba, or 5 of frankincense. Yeah. Yeah, and the dilution chart, which I can send again on our group, it's the total number of drops. So if it says like 5 to 12 drops, it means like in total 12 drops. Like, so it could be 5 of one, 5 of another, and 5 of another. Yeah. But I also just, while I think about it, do you all know to, like, on our group, if you go onto doTERRA Essential Oils, the group, and then you go down and you go onto media links and docs, all the pictures are there, or some of the documents to print, or some of the links. So that's also quite a quick way of seeing what you're looking for if we've sent out visuals. So either that, and then also just on the top of your whole WhatsApp thing, just going onto the search bar and then putting like deep blue or growing pains, and just typing it there, and it'll bring up every chat that it's been mentioned in, which is mostly our sorts of chats, and then you'll see the thread. Any other questions? Okay, so Calm, this is what I make for ladies on my courses, and this is what I use like almost as a perfume. I love this roller so much, and so this one I put like 10 to 12 drops of lavender, which is very calming, 8 to 10 drops of peppermint, and then 5 drops of frankincense, or you could do 5 drops of Copaiba. So so this I use like on my pulse points. Sometimes I put it here, put it on my wrists, put it on my feet, and it's very good for, it helps with anxiety, promoting feelings of calm, grounding, focus, yeah, adjusting to new life situations, studying. It's general life aid, because it's not, so it can really help with anxiety, but it's not really it's not a sleeping, it's not putting you to sleep. If you were just making a sleep roller, you'd just put lavender and frankincense, you'd leave out the peppermint. So the peppermint still keeps you quite alert, but it's very calming. Okay, so that's the Calm, and then sometimes I'll just try and be inhaling it from the roller, or yeah, or putting on my hands and making a little ghetto diffuser and taking like 3 or 4 deep breaths using this, because it makes you pause and stop and inhale, and then focus on your exhale, make your exhale longer than your inhale, and that is really calming. So that's the Calm. And then I've just made a new, well, not just, I've actually been using it for a month or two, one called Uplift, that I've called Uplift. So this one, and again, I'll send this sheet out to you, has got 8 to 10 drops of peppermint, and then 8 to 10 drops of wild orange. So those are both uplifting. The wild orange is very good for, as I said, good for mood, good for when one's feeling down. And then I've put also 5 drops of copaiba. So I use this again when I'm feeling like I need a boost or a lift. I also use it, it's very good for thyroid stuff. So I'll rub it across my thyroid as a thyroid stimulating oil, and then also can use it on pulse points and on feet. So that's uplift. And this darker bottle is actually one that I've just, because we don't have, I'm hoping to get some more of our rollers next week, but we don't have them yet. And so I ordered from this Essent Oils in Bryanston. And so her rollers are these darker ones, which preserve our oils better when they're not exposed to the light. So she has these, they're nice quality. They're quite a lot more expensive than ours. It was 75 Rand, I think, for a pack of 5, whereas ours are 5 Rand 50 each. And then, but she also does have the slightly smaller ones, which are quite useful, to the 5 ml ones and 2 ml little rollers. So if you're wanting to make something little for someone to take to school when they go back to school, or to have in their pockets, these smaller ones are quite nice. And then I mentioned a sleep roller. So I don't have this with me when I'm out and about, but I have it next to my bed and next to everyone's bed. I use mostly the Serenity blend, which I love. And again, with our kids, I'd make it probably a little bit less, a little bit more diluted, probably 10 to 15 drops for us, 15 to 20 drops. That's more for if people really have trouble sleeping, using the Serenity roller and diffusing Serenity. But if you don't have Serenity, you could also do your own blend of lavender and frankincense. So I would do 10 to 15 drops of lavender and 5 of frankincense, and have that as a sleep roller, and then also diffusing those. So the lavender and frankincense works really well for sleep and for calming, and putting on the diffuser a bit earlier than like just when everyone's going to bed. So maybe putting it on at 6 o'clock in the evening, helping people to calm before they're starting to even think about sleep, and then using the roller. Also, you can use it before everyone goes to bed or when they're in bed. And then, but if for people who are more insomniacs, the Serenity is a more powerful blend, and you can keep that next to your bed and put it on. And if you wake in the night, you can put that on and put it on your hands and inhale deep breaths into your hands. So those are those. And then our mighty Flume, which I've been promising to tell you about. So Flume, for those of you who are new, is the frankincense, lemon, on guard, oregano, and melaleuca. You should all have a little handout of it, but we do 5 drops of frankincense and oregano because they are such strong, potent oils, and then 10 of the rest. So this is like a mandatory roller, and take it, so I don't take it with me when I'm out and about, but when I'm traveling, I would take it definitely. And then it's always in my kit at home, so I can just reach for it straight away. So I really recommend you all make one of these now. So as I said, 5 drops of frankincense, 10 of lemon, 10 of on guard, 5 of oregano, and 10 of melaleuca, and then just top the rest with fractionated coconut oil. It's a very strong oregano smell. And so this we put under feet, on the throat, back of neck, or up and down spine if someone's feeling sick. And then also we do the layering. So if you start to be concerned that someone is sick in the evening, or when you're at home, like we are at home a lot more now, lying them down, and you can then start off with a drop of frankincense. So getting them lying on their tummy, you put a drop of frankincense and then wipe it up their spine. Then put a little bit of that coconut oil. So just like your bottle of coconut oil, just dipping your finger in, putting it on to dilute. And then you can do a drop of lemon. You just literally drop the drop onto the base of their spine, rub it up. A drop of on guard. So you only do 1 application of the coconut oil, and then you just layer, and then a drop of on guard, a drop of oregano, and a drop of melaleuca. And you can get them to smell your hand or rub their feet as you do each one. And it's quite a nice soothing thing. Then put a nice warm blanket on, or keep them warm, and then putting them to bed. But then this Flume is a great option for when one's a bit more on the go, or feeling things and you want to just do something quickly. And then on that same Flume handout, so let me just have a look at if I can find that quickly. I'm going into that media links and documents, and then I'm just going to look for the Flume. Here it is. So for internal, it says to add to a glass bottle, so something like this, shake to mix, then add 4 drops of the mixture to the veggie capsule. So they're saying you use exactly the same dilution as I've just talked about, but you put that in a glass bottle and add the 10 mils of fractionated coconut oil, and then you just shake it. And then when you want to use you then take 4 drops of it from here into a veggie capsule. So you'd open your veggie capsule, drop 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you can top that off with a little bit of olive oil or other oil if you want to dilute it a little bit more, and then you take that internally. And it says take 1 capsule every 4 to 6 hours until symptoms improve, or use On Guard soft gels. Now, one of the women on our leaders group she's struggled with chronic fatigue, and just really, she gets sick often. Just as she's getting better, she'll get sick again. And she said she did this routinely as something to get her body, her immune system going. And she says she's never felt as well in her life as she has been, as she's been taking that regularly. So I wouldn't take it always ongoing, but you could take it sort of with every 4 to 6 hours for sort of 3 or 4 days, and then give it a little bit of a break, or take out it's just like something like oregano is a very hot oil, and that's quite a strong concentration. So you could still drop On Guard under your tongue, but maybe not use that whole concentrated mix as much. Any questions?
Yes, Nikki, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask you, how long will the rollers last?
Yeah, the rollers won't last as long as the pure oils, but I mean, I haven't had any, and I've been using them for a good year. I haven't had any that I've smelt a change or noticed that they've changed. So I keep them out the sun. Like if you put them in your kitchen on a windowsill, then they're more likely to denature. A little bit like olive oil, if you put it in the sun and it gets hot and it's got light on it, then it will denature quicker than if you keep it in a darker place. But you'll notice more that it just doesn't smell quite the same, or maybe it doesn't smell as potent or something, and then you can chuck it out and get a new one, or make a new one, or empty it out.
Okay. And then I don't know if you're coming on to Copaiba specifically itself.
A little bit, but yeah, ask any questions now.
I really wanted to just find out it seems like it has many uses.
So I talked a little bit about it earlier, but it's just hugely powerfully anti-inflammatory. It's also hugely powerfully anti-anxiety, and so because it's so anti-inflammatory, it's very good for any pain, inflammation, gout, any of our arthritic issues, any of the autoimmune stuff as well, because that's a very overactive immune system. It's good for liver toxicity, and also for respiratory support. So the elderly really benefit from this. Dom actually talked about it in her little 10-minute video this morning on Instagram that we posted on the group. And it's very good for the elderly, because it will help with feelings of anxiety, but also help with chest and with immune support and decreasing inflammation. I mean, the list of in this Essential Life book, the list of the benefits are just kind of vast. But some of the other ones were bedwetting and incontinence, colitis and intestinal infections, and then very much cancer and immune disorders, frankincense. And I'll tell you, when I talk a little bit about frankincense, I want to go through each of the oils just briefly. There's so much research around frankincense being such a cellular support and very, very powerful for use in cancer treatment, which I'll talk about. I'll show you 1 or 2 articles.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Pleasure. So I think Copaiba is relatively new, and it's not in our top 10 kit, but they've brought it in with that seasonal defense pack because it is so powerfully anti-inflammatory and immune supportive, and just really supports our body very deeply.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure. Okay, then the last roller that I'm going to, oh no, I've got a couple. So one a useful roller that I make and we just use, so I don't take it around with me, but we use from time to time, is one that can be used for skin and ear. So I put 10 drops of lavender and 10 drops of melaleuca. Those are both powerful for if one's getting a grotty ear or for any skin issues, acne, blemishes, lumps and bumps, anything like that. And you can add 5 drops of frankincense if you want to also up level that.
Is that for sunburn?
Yes, so for sunburn you can use that. So you could either use, you could use a roller. So I have a roller that we keep for things like that, but I could also use a little bit of coconut oil on your hand and a drop of lavender, a drop of melaleuca, rub it and just rub the burnt area on whoever's burnt. So that's quite a, so it's for skin and ear. So I call it like a skin ear mix. It's also good for cuts and burnt chapped lips, burns. Yeah, putting it around the ear, not in the ear. Useful for rashes and acne or chafing, anything like that.
How do you apply it to the ear? Can you demonstrate?
Yeah, so you use a roller and you put it literally just around the ear like that. Okay, if someone's getting a bad very sore ear, I would then almost put rather a little bit of coconut oil, tiny bit, and then a drop of each on my hand and put it around, like use it like this and put it around. But if it's something that you're not needing like the urgent intervention, then the roller will be great for it. And then also you can put a drop of melaleuca on a little bit of cotton wool and just put that resting in the ear. So you'd never put the melaleuca into the ear, you put it onto the cotton wool and then just put it at the ear, and that really is a strong antiviral and helps with treating anything that's going on in the ear. And then one of my new rollers that I've made and I've loved, I mean, this is more because I've always had such weak nails and mine chip and crack, and I then do like a shellac treatment and then they look so terrible afterwards. And I've just found this amazing mix, which I've absolutely loved, which is 10 drops frankincense and 10 drops lemon, and then the recipe has 10 drops myrrh, but I think the frankincense and lemon will make a huge difference by themselves. My mum had bought me myrrh from Namibia when she'd gone, and I'd never used it. I didn't know what to do with it. But now I'm adding 10 drops of myrrh. So 10 drops of each in a roller, and then I top it off with coconut oil. And then in the morning, well, particularly at night when I'm going to bed, because it's a bit oily on your fingers, I just roll it on my fingers, or you could put in one of like an empty little cuticle bottle or with a little brush or something like that. So I do that, and I do it in the mornings quite often too, and it's made such a difference to my nails. They're so much stronger. So I love that mix. And then just general things, we've talked about the throat spray, which is like our On Guard spray, a cleaning spray. I make, so with a glass bottle, so I put like half water, half vinegar or a cup of vinegar, and then I did 5 or 6 drops of lemon. And at this time one can also do up to 20 drops of On Guard if you want to spray surfaces and keep surfaces clean. So in fact I didn't even do half a cup I just did, on the original one I did 2 tablespoons of vinegar and just topped off with water. So that's a cleaning spray. Any questions there? So in that new kit, that seasonal kit, just talking about that, they've that we came up with an immune bomb. So the seasonal kit has got Copaiba, wild orange, On Guard, breathe, and oregano. And so instead of making a flume roller, if you only had the seasonal kit, which we've all got the others, but one could also make like a flume roller, but you could do 5 drops of each of those, and that would also be a hugely like an immune bomb roller like we have. So that's, so if you're getting your kit, like I got my in-laws, I want them to listen tomorrow morning when I do my call about the oils, because I said there's no point me getting them a kit and then they don't actually know what it's about and how to use it. So I'll get them to make an immune balm like that for themselves, an immune balm roller. And then in terms of what we should be diffusing at the moment, someone said to me, am I just diffusing On Guard constantly? And I'm not at all. My mum is a psychologist and she was seeing some clients this week, and then I said to her I'd really recommend putting an On Guard diffuser in the room if she's doing that. If like a physio having to treat someone, I would put an On Guard diffuser on. If anyone's starting to get sick or scratchy throats, I put an On Guard diffuser straight away. And I'd put for adults like 6 drops of On Guard, or 3 drops of On Guard and 3 drops of Breathe, putting it next to someone's bed. So those are the sort of things that I diffuse. For a child with asthma, I'd put Breathe next to their bed. You could diffuse Wild Orange if you have Wild Orange. That's just uplifting and also immune protective, but it just makes us all feel better and lighter. Or Wild Orange and Peppermint. Those are great. So peppermint and lemon, or peppermint and wild orange, are good for concentration and focus and things like that. One could also diffuse the sort of mix of all 5 of those from the seasonal kit. You could just put a drop of each into a diffuser as well. Mashadi, are you wanting to ask something? You raise your hand. You're on mute still. Sure. There you are.
I wanted to find out about using the Flume and the immune balm. Do you use them interchangeably? Because they seem to serve the same purpose.
Yeah, so I haven't made the immune balm one yet. I've always just used Flume because that was our immune balm. And this was just for the kit. You've just got a new kit, so I would make the Flume. And then, yeah, you could do the 2 interchangeably, but I would do first and foremost the Flume, and rely more on that. For people who don't have everything in Flume, then the other one is a good option.
And at this stage, would you recommend just buying Copaiba on its own, because it doesn't come in my essential kit?
In your pack, I probably would. Yeah. It's just,
okay.
It's such a versatile and such a useful oil. Yeah, and even for parents or someone like that, just to have a bottle that they put a drop on their hands and smell it and put it under their feet, and things like that, just to also help to support them at this time. Yeah.
Thank you.
And then also another pleasure, a nice diffusion mix is Breathe and lavender. So lavender, like I said, it's actually also got antiviral properties, and it's quite calming, and it smells lovely, and Breathe is to open up our airways. So that's also quite a nice mix. Okay, so then just the last other tips. So I've told you how to make a veggie capsule, the pure, diluting for babies and children. Keeping bottles, and you can divide them around the house, and then the stickers. So I've told you all of those. Other oils I'm finding useful at the moment, like I said, Serenity. I like that a lot as a blend. Balance is a great blend for helping one to stay balanced, and helping also us when we're feeling in a bit of a flump. It's a nice oil to even put quite neat underneath feet. So one of the mums on this other group was saying that her child had come down to breakfast in a complete flump and not happy at all, and she said she knows she was late with the breakfast and things like that, and she had some balance. She said she turned it over, put some under his feet, and within a minute or 2 he was like a changed child. So one can put it under feet or back of neck and things like that. That's just balance. Clary Calm is very useful for hormonal stuff, hormonal balancing. It comes in a roller. I won't go into it all now. We can talk about another time. If you do have Clary Calm, I'm using it daily, and it's really because I used to have very short cycles and my period would come around very quickly. Now it's actually just within 1 month of using it, it's gone to a normal length, and I'm just putting it, excuse me, I've actually got a skirt on, so on the inside of my heel here, because that's your uterus point for that's in reflexology, that's your uterus point, so I put it in there. And if you've got endometriosis or polycystic ovaries or different hormonal things, you could also just swipe it across the front of your uterus. That would be Clary Calm, which comes in a pre-made roller. Dom talked about the Intune roller, which is for focus and ADHD, which is helpful to a lot of people as well at this time and other times. And then just Smart and Sassy, which a lot of people got with their kits. We're spending a lot more time at home, and there's a lot more comfort eating and far less exercise and running around and things. So this is quite nice to put in a drop in a glass of water, and to have it either, or you can put it in your bottle of water and just sip on it, and it helps to curb cravings. It helps to speed up our metabolism. It helps us to our bodies to just work better generally. So that's Smart and Sassy. And then just also to tell you that on that EO supplies, essential oil supplies, you can get this book if you're passionate about oils, but this you can also get in an app, which is the Essential Life app for those who are new to it. But that EO supplies is also, they've got these little books. They're not the modern essentials. They're called Essential Oil Knowledge Series, and they're something like 32 Rand. And it's quite useful. So if you are ordering rollers through them or any other accessories, look for this as well, because it's got all sorts of things like allergies, and it tells you which mixes to use and how to use it, Alzheimer's disease, aneurysm, angina, and then it also has all the oils and how you use them. So this is something that wasn't here when we started introducing everyone to the oils. I got them recently, and I really recommend them to get something like that, so that you've got that as access. And then Emma's just reminded me that with that Clary Calm, the roller that I talked about, it comes in a pre-mixed roller, but you can actually dilute it, and you could dilute it into 2 or 3 rollers. All their pre-mixed rollers, you can actually just take off the tops, pour it out, pour half or a third into your other rollers, and then dilute with fractionated coconut oil, because otherwise some of them are very strong. And like that Clary Calm, if you use it, I just use it on my heels, and then I don't really smell it that much during the day. But if you put it on your tummy, you'll smell it a lot in the day. So one can dilute it. Okay, so thanks, Em. Yeah, any other questions? So then I just thought I would share with you guys some tips and hacks. A lot of you are now quite familiar with the oils and what does what. And so these are just some interesting little things and some reminders. Again, I will send this out. It won't look very pretty for now, but it's a good reminder for now. And some of it we've gone through before. So lemon and wild orange are citrus oils. They're uplifting, cleansing, for helping uplifting mood with depression, fear, and anxiety. They alkalize us. Also, it increases our vitamin C, although they're not supplements, using for cleaning. So we've talked about all those. A nice hack is if you use a microwave, putting a bowl of water in the microwave and 5 drops of lemon, and you put it on high for 5 minutes, and then you can easily wipe down all the grime that's in the microwave. So that's quite a nice hack. Also, a little spray bottle with water and lemon is, you can use that for cleaning surfaces, but it's also, if you spray it, it keeps fruit fresh before serving. Some of these I've done myself, some of them I haven't. It's diffusing lemon, helps to eliminate odors and bath, so it's quite a nice one for getting rid of nasty smells in a place where, or if you've been painting or something like that. It gets rid of sticky stuff like stickers, price labels, permanent marker, gum in hair. Also, if you've got dirty washcloths and like kitchen cloths, if you soak them in detergent with a few drops of lemon overnight, it's very cleansing and they smell very nice afterwards. And then on tired feet and cracked heels and things like that, a bit of coconut oil with a drop of lemon and a drop of melaleuca on the feet is very helpful. And then, I think I've talked about the rest. And lemon and olive oil can be used as a furniture polish too, for a wood furniture polish. So that's lemon. Then Melaleuca. Melaleuca is brilliant for immune support and strong antiviral. You can also apply it after shaving if you've got skin irritations. It's very good for that. You can add a drop to your moisturizer, or you can add that mix that we talked about, the skin mix, the lavender and frankincense too. It's very good for skin health. It's good for athlete's foot and other toe nasties. So you literally just tip the bottle over, put a little bit on your finger and put it on the athlete's foot or the little infections or anything like that. For cold sores, the same. You can put it on neat, or you can add a little bit of coconut oil. Again, put your finger in a bit of coconut oil, tip it over and put it on. For cold sores, On Guard is also helpful for cold sores. Just massaging onto the bottom of feet and the chest area for just general health and respiratory health. And then a hack that I put on the chat the other day, so drop in water in our vases helps the flowers to last longer. Also a drop in underwear. If you're prone to urinary tract infections, then just put a drop in underwear each day, or if you start to feel it coming on, just putting a drop in underwear. A drop in cotton wool in the ear for ear infection, and a couple of drops of cotton wool for smelly shoes. Put cotton wool and put the cotton wool with Melaleuca into smelly shoes overnight, and also helps to get rid of those odors. Also helps with permanent marker. Any questions there or any other experiences? Okay, and then lavender. Lavender soothes and calms. So there's actually a lovely study here that I had come across just recently on postpartum anxiety. So that's postnatal depression, and this is a PubMed, so from PubMed research study, and it was the effect of lavender scent inhalation on prevention of stress, anxiety, and depression in the postpartum period. So basically, they had two groups. The one group was to inhale 3 drops of lavender every 8 hours, and the other group just had their normal follow-up. And then they watched them for 2 weeks, 1 month, and 3 months post-delivery. They filled out the DAS scale. Any of the psychologists will know it's depression, anxiety, and stress, and the Edinburgh stress, anxiety, and depression scales. So they filled those in, and the results showed that mean stress, anxiety, and depression at 2 weeks, and then at 1 month and 3 months post-delivery were significantly lower in the study group compared with the control group. And the conclusion was that inhaling the scent of lavender for 4 weeks can prevent stress, anxiety, and depression after childbirth. So that's quite a nice article to know, that sometimes it just feels like it's a scent, but they had significant differences in how these women were feeling postpartum. And that's just with lavender. So something like our Calm Roller is very useful for that. Lavender is also antiviral, antibacterial, so you can add it to your hand and cleaning sprays as well. It's good for mozzie bites and bike bites, just tipping it over, putting it onto the bite. Neat. If it feels sore, itchy for a child, you just put on a bit more coconut oil. Lavender and deep blue are great for growing pains. So a roller of each, or a roller with both in it, would be helpful, or just a drop of each with coconut oil for growing pains. Lavender, lemon, and peppermint is a very powerful mix for allergies. So with these, there are a number of ways you can do it. Either making a roller with 10 drops of each and applying that back of neck, around the face, wherever you're feeling it, around eyes, but not too close to eyes. You could also take it internally in a capsule form like this, or putting a drop in water, but it's quite a strong concoction together. So roller, or just with a bit of fractionated coconut oil. So putting a bit of coconut oil in your hand and a drop of each, rubbing it and putting it around, and also inhaling 3 or 4 times, especially those hay fever allergies and things like that. That's when it's very useful. So getting back to lavender, so skin issues like chafing, razor burns, putting a drop or 2 onto a pillow or making a spray. Again, sunburn, sore and chapped lips and gums, and then making an aoi spray. Actually, I think I've left mine upstairs. So I made a spray bottle. This is also a really important one to make. Of 10 drops of lavender, 10 drops of melaleuca, and 10 drops of frankincense. And then filling it up with just a bit of coconut oil and then water. And that you can use, so like if someone really grazes themselves and looks nasty, instead of even Bactroban and things like that, you can just put that directly on. And the melaleuca and the lavender are hugely antiviral and help with healing. So for grazes, for UTIs or cystitis, if you feel it coming on, you spray in that area. For nappy rash, it's really good for nappy rash. For cuts, grazes, chafing, all those sorts of things. So that's we call the aoi spray. So it's 10 drops of each. Okay. Sorry, this is a lot to take in, and that's why I will send you these as well, so you can keep them and print them out. So peppermint.
Nikki.
Yeah.
Hi, it's Romina.
Hi, Romina.
I just want to share something that I used this week, which was really amazing. I felt a sty coming on, so I used the app to see what would work. And actually the same as the burn, I think it's the lavender melaleuca combination. I was just rubbing it around the eye socket of my eye, and I actually forgot that I had it yesterday. So it took about 3 or 4 days, and it actually cleared up all on its own. So it really made a big difference.
Roller that you'd put on, or how did you then apply it?
So I actually have a little one neat that I keep in my kitchen, which is not neat. I've got, it's quite a potent one though. It's the lavender and tea tree oil with just a little bit of coconut oil, which I keep for when I burn myself in the kitchen. And I use the combination in one of those 2 ml bottles. And I was just a little dab of that around my eye socket, maybe 4 or 5 times a day. And it went away within a couple of days. It was quite amazing.
That's wonderful to hear. Thank you, Romina. Yeah, that's those little sample bottles that we do. You can, can make quite a strong mixture for that for skin. That's quite a nice way to do it. And then you tip it over and put it around, the eye, or to put it onto cuts or bruises or burns and things. Yeah, thank you for that. That's really helpful.
Pleasure.
So peppermint's really good for cooling and also for restoring our muscles. So this Jackie Walker actually gave me this idea, soaking in an Epsom salts bath with deep blue, some dropping of deep blue and peppermint after strenuous exercise is amazing for helping our muscles not to feel so stiff and sore afterwards. She said she was doing quite a few 21Ks, and while she was running, she'd dream about her bath that she was going to, that was waiting for her later. So that was that. And then also Sarah, one of the other members on our group, told me about putting peppermint with a bit of fractionated coconut oil and rubbing it up and down her daughter's legs. Her daughter's a great sportswoman and had done a whole festival tournament, and she said she rubbed it up and down and really helped with her muscle recovery and helped, it's cooling and soothing for muscles. So that's peppermint. Obviously to use with lavender to make calm, and that pick me up for driving long distances. Rubbing on tummy or taking internally for digestive discomfort. Also diffusing to help rein in our desire for snacks. So if we diffusing peppermint and lemon or peppermint and wild orange at this stage, it helps to boost our immune system, boost our feeling, us to feel a bit better, and also helps to not give us so many cravings. You can also add a drop of it to your shampoo bottle. It's quite stimulating for the scalp. So that's quite a nice hack with it. And it's delicious with all things chocolate. So if you make any hot chocolate, or like we do our coffee, or any baked goods, chocolate brownies or anything like that, you can add 1 or 2 drops of peppermint, and it's actually a really nice combination. That's peppermint. And then oregano for warts. We talk about that in our classes, how it gets rid of warts. It's very immune boosting with fractionated coconut oil. So like if you are feeling like something's coming on and you're just only grabbing 1 or 2 things, I would put oregano straight on, well, with a little bit of coconut oil onto your feet. Like that's probably the strongest oil that we've got to use for getting sick. So, but it's obviously good when it's used in combination with the others, but even just on its own. And in a veggie capsule for helping with breathing and clearing respiratory gunks. So this is something that we're hearing more and more of people who do have coronavirus really struggling with gunk and tightness in their respiratory tract. And that's why the oregano is included in that seasonal kit, because it really does help us to clear this gunk. But putting some in with a little bit of olive oil, putting 1 or 2 drops and taking it internally. But again, it's very hot and very potent. Also good for UTIs if you're struggling with any urine tract infection, bladder stuff, take that oregano internally. And also I've just mixed this morning, making a bathroom spray with oregano and melaleuca. And for those moldy, grimy, the corners where you're using these strong cleaners to try and get rid of any of that mold, the oregano actually really helps too. So the oregano and melaleuca actually works better. So give that a try. So that I made this little spray bottle of oregano and melaleuca. Okay, just a couple more. So frankincense, we've talked a lot about. For wrinkles, youthful skin, I said about how it's made my nails so much stronger. Under the tongue, for cellular support, for inflammation, and for immunity. And for migraines is the use we know most, which is turning the bottle over, putting it on our thumb, and putting that on the top of your palate. So one of the other articles I found recently was this Boswellia sacra. So Boswellia is the scientific name. Essential oil induces tumor cell-specific apoptosis, which is death, and suppresses tumor aggressiveness in cultured human breast cancer cells. So this is also a PubMed article, and goes on to say, similar to our previous observations in human bladder cancer cells, Boswellia sacra essential oil induces breast cancer cell-specific cytotoxicity and suppression of cellular network formation and disruption of spheroid development of breast cancer cells. Anyway, it goes on. So it's a therapeutic agent for treating breast cancer. So that's an interesting article. And then this, as I now tell in a lot of my classes, the first time I came across frankincense really used therapeutically was in the Truth About Cancer series. And this is written by Ty Bollinger, who produces that. And it's the anti-inflammatory and healing power of Boswellia serrata. And it goes on to talk just all about frankincense, what it is, why it's, and it talks about different things like boswellic acids found in frankincense resin are also powerful pain relievers that actually work better than non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, because they don't disrupt the glycosaminoglycan synthesis, and they lubricate the joints and other connective tissues. So it goes on to that, talks about how it's so useful for gas, constipation, irritable bowel syndrome, cramps, colds, and influenza. This isn't a research article, but this is he's done a lot of research into it. Pain and inflammation, compromised immunity, imbalance of just damaged hormones, poor sleep, cancer, and the side effects of chemotherapy. So he says perhaps its biggest claim to fame, frankincense oil has been shown to treat multiple forms of cancer, including ovarian, breast, and skin cancers. A compound known as AKBA is one component of frankincense oil in particular that studies have shown effectively combats cancer cells and prevents them from spreading and metastasizing. This includes cancer cells that have developed resistance to conventional cancer treatments like chemotherapy. So I think that's really heartwarming, and I think those of us who are privileged enough to have frankincense should be putting a drop of it under our tongue and putting a drop on our skins daily. So that's to tell you a bit about that, and I'm very happy to send you that article if you'd like, and the research studies. And then just on guard, so a hack that I've recently learned: when cutting onions, just open your bottle of On Guard and keep it next to on your chopping board, and it stops your eyes from watering. Don't ask me how or why. I haven't looked into that yet, but it does actually work. We tried it. Use a drop under tongue at first sign of illness. For sore throat, also you could, for kids this might be, and for us, like a bit of honey on a spoon and a drop of On Guard and a drop of lemon. That really helps sore throats. You can use it in an oven cleaner with lemon and water spray, spraying around the oven, and makes it much easier to wipe away the grime. And the hand wash, someone also commented on one of the groups I'm on that their husband uses this instead of a shaving foam, and that it's been so much better for his skin. So Colin will be trying that. And last few, Deep blue is obviously rubbing on muscles before and after exercise to decrease stiffness and inflammation. Using for tense neck and shoulders, stiff and arthritic hands and fingers, good for growing pains, period cramps. So period stuff, I would put lavender in front and deep blue behind on our backs. That's a really good combination. And then the Clary Calm roller throughout the month. It's good for bruises, sprains and inflamed joints, tennis elbows, muscle cramps, and in that Epsom salts bath. Breathe, diffusing and putting up on the feet and chest and upper lift to help with breathing. That's why it's obviously also included in the kit. Breathing at night, breathing comfortably at night. So thinking like people with coughs or tight chests or snoring, people who struggle to breathe at night. Putting a few drops in a hot shower also helps to open up our airways, just dropping into the bottom of the shower, or inhaling with hot water. So breathing over hot water, inhaling and putting a towel over your head also helps to clear the airways. Before exercise to help open airways, if you're sitting in a small office or sitting at a desk for long hours. Also, if you're allergic to animal hair and you're going into someone's home, obviously not as relevant now, but they've got a lot of animal hair, you could put a bit of Breathe under your nose and that helps to combat some of that allergy. And you could add some drops to, you know, those wheat bags that we heat up, and you could add some drops of that like at night or in winter to help also open airways. And then just Zengest, the taming the tummy aches. If you've had too much dairy and you have that sort of really uncomfortable feeling in your tummy, a veggie cap with Zengest, or putting it just drinking a little bit neat. Good for motion sickness after big meals, good for bloating, good for the sinuses. Also, quite interestingly, you can put a couple of drops or a drop or two just in a child's bath with warm water to help with digestion, because sometimes they don't like the smell or the taste, but even just putting it in the bath can help them. And you can also use it as a mouthwash if you eat in a meal with strong smells like garlic or, you know, onion or curries, and it's good after also eating too much curry, you know, the effects of curries. Okay, and then Copaiba, which we've talked about a lot. And so Copaiba is also good for, as I said, it's for the inflammation and everything, also good for fungal, bacterial, and viral infections, internally and topically, high blood pressure, endometriosis, and basically it just brings the body into a less inflammatory state and hugely supports the nervous system and brings the body back to homeostasis. So that's it. I think that's...
Sorry, did you make a roller with that?
With the Copaiba?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, just that. I'm thinking of my parents. I mean, should I be making them a roller like that?
So for your parents, I would almost get them a bottle, or like share out your bottle, get them to put a drop on their hands and inhale, get them to take a drop under their tongue. If they've got arthritic-y things, then mixing a roller with Deep Blue and Copaiba. The plain, I would just more mix the Copaiba with whatever other rollers. If they're feeling anxious or stressed, I would then maybe make them a calm roller and put Copaiba in that. I wouldn't just do a plain Copaiba, although you can, it is anti-inflammatory. I'd use it with, if they've got digestive issues, I'd use Copaiba and Zengest, things like that.
And would you put it in your On Guard roller or not?
Yeah, you can, absolutely. And it also then adds to the anti-inflammatory effect, and it also sort of up levels the On Guard. So yeah, it's a good idea.
Because they definitely won't put on a lot, but if I could get everything in one roller and make them put just one roller on, that would probably... So
then you can, so that roller that Dom recommends, that for that immune bomb, which you could, and I mean, you can do the Copaiba, like the Flume, instead of frankincense, you could use Copaiba, and you could do this one here, the Copaiba, wild orange, oregano, Breathe, and On Guard, 5 drops of that in a roller. And that's this one that I can also resend. But you can do any combination of those sorts of things in a roller for them as a big immune boost, like the immune bomb. It's not necessarily, so they might want to then put it on their feet every night, or, you know, because the elderly are the population that are going to be most affected. This is something that they could, instead of doing the On Guard on their hands and feet when they wake up, they can do this on their hands and feet when they wake up and when they go to bed, and then just use the On Guard sprays, you know, during the day.
Okay, thanks. And it doesn't matter if you do like the immune bomb or whatever that's called. It doesn't make you less able to do, like if you get sick, you don't like build up resistance.
No, not at all. That's the beauty of it. Actually, it really supports your own cellular function and your own cellular health, so that when you get sick, you shouldn't get as sick, but also you don't become dependent on these things. So like the postpartum woman is quite a nice example. Like sniffing the lavender helps them in the time that they need it, but they'll need that less and less. And it's the same with this. This immune bomb will help us enormously now. It doesn't take over from our body's immune function. It's just supporting our body's immune function. So we should need this less and less. But obviously these times we want to protect ourselves as we can. But it doesn't make our bodies weaker and doesn't make us more reliant on them.
Thanks.
Cool. Anything else? Thank you for your attention. This has been a lot to take in a short time, well, quite a long time, but I think it's just such useful, helpful stuff. And we've all got these oils, we've all got these tools, so we may as well be using them to the best effect that we can.
Next, can I ask a question? I have from my sort of starter pack some On Guard beadlets, those little beadlet things. What would be the best way to use those? Do you think you swallow one, or should you pop them in?
I
What
can't
should I do with
ones
them?
to South Africa. So those I use it ourselves, but mostly for our kids because they can't take a lot of tablets. So if they I mean, you could give them like literally 1 or 2 a day, and they just swallow them. They're tiny little beadlets. For those who don't know, they come in a little like a roller, and they've got these tiny little gel beadlets, and so 4 beadlets is 1 drop. So like I say, if I'm starting to get sick, I'll put a drop of On Guard under my tongue. But for the beadlets, you would put like 4. So for a child, you'd put like 2 beadlets and just give them 2 beadlets to have. You could do it 2 or 3 times a day if they're getting sick. At this time of the year, you could just take 2 once a day. Yeah, they're lovely. And those peppermint beadlets are nice for you can just have a bite of that and it freshens your mouth. Those are really nice.
Where'd you get the beadlets next? Sorry, I haven't seen those.
Okay, thanks.
Yes, sadly. The people who got kits when we were still bringing them in from the US got them. I haven't had mine for ages either. But then I wished I got more. So if no one's traveling between the UK but we will, as soon as they get the supplements in, they'll start bringing those beadlets. But because they kind of come on supplement rather than the essential oil range, although they are just the essential oil in a little capsule, you can't get them yet.
Okay, no problem. Nikki?
Hi, Miriam.
Hi there. Sorry, I wanted to ask, what would you recommend for COPD then? Would you just do the immune bomb?
Yeah, I would. And I would do, I would also increase the breathe and probably take the oregano internally as well, make those oregano capsules.
Okay, so would you do the breathe separately? You wouldn't add it to the immune bomb to do it all at once?
No, I'd do the immune bomb, but I'd actually even just add a bit more breathe.
Oh, okay.
Breathe in the diffuser or something like that.
Yeah, okay.
So powerful.
All right, thank you.
Airways and helping with oxygenation, that I would just put a little bit more, and then the oregano also internally.
Okay. All right, thanks.
Pleasure.
Nikki? I wanted to find out about the fractionated coconut oil. Where do we get more? And secondly, the Smart and Sexy doesn't seem to be on the. You can't shop for it.
You should be able to shop for it, but you got the bigger.
It's not there.
Isn't it coming up there?
No.
In the US, it's called Slim and Sassy. I wonder if I'll check that out. I'll check that out. The Smart and Sassy. It was there. It comes as a gift. Does anyone else have experience? Has anyone else ordered it?
I'll try Slim and Sassy and see what happens.
Yeah, but that's the American name. All ours are branded Smart and Sassy. So but I'll look into that. And then the fractionated coconut oil, you can either buy doTERRA's one, which is online. It's more expensive, or we get a very good quality one that we sell in bottles like this. And Dom, who's got Oil Up, I'll send you the details of that. She's got spray bottles and coconut oil, and she normally has rollers, but there's just the rollers we don't have at the moment. So we can get big bottles of fractionated coconut oil like this as well for $265. Yeah, the big kits, you get the diffuser and you get 3 times the amount of oil, but you don't get the Smart and Sassy. The smaller kits, you get the smaller things in the Smart and Sassy. But I'll look into that.
Thank you.
And then, yeah, you're welcome to leave if your questions are answered, if you've got any other questions, or you can message me privately, and I will put this stuff onto our group anyway for everyone to see. And I've recorded it. I've got no idea how the recording will work out, but if anyone wants the recording, I can try and share that with you. Emma says Smart and Sassy is definitely on the website. Sometimes the best thing to do, Mashadi, is in the search bar, just type Smart or type Sassy and find it like that. Otherwise, it'll be under the blends, not under the single oils.
I'll try again, but I've tried twice. Okay.
Yeah. Otherwise,
okay. Thank you. Thanks for that. I'll try again.
And then also just to let you know, it is really worth, if you ever have any issues, phone in doTERRA. They're now open 2 to 10, and they are so helpful. They sort things out very quickly. If you can't find that, that would be a good way of phoning them and just saying, can you help with that? And if one's wanting to order anything overseas, again, that's not possible for the moment, but if I've traveled overseas or my husband's going overseas, then I'll phone in and I'll order the stuff that's off the UK or US websites and get it delivered there. Thank you all. I hope that we all stay safe and healthy and well, and that these tools are helpful for us, not just at this time, but going forward, and that you really enjoy your oils.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Nix. Thank you.
Lovely evening,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Bye.
And bye.
I'm just going to stay on in case anyone wants to ask me anything at the end, but you're welcome to all go.
Thanks, Nikki. It was so awesome and such a perfect forum.
Oh, good. Thank you, Miranda. Thank you. I think
I enjoyed it.
It worked really well. So thanks for the encouragement.
Yeah, it worked really well. It also, I think, means that there's less interference because people are not asking stuff. I think when you're in person, it's so much easier to chit-chat. And so actually in this way, it's succinct, it's to the point. I think you've delivered it beautifully, and it means we're all safe at home and doing what we need to do, as painful as it is.
But thank you. Yeah, well, now we've got time to go and mix these and use them and actually apply it all.
Yeah, thanks. But please follow up with notes and stuff. I've written quite a lot down, but I'm sure I haven't got it all.
I will, but they're not. I'll also give them to Dom so she can make nice handouts in due course. But for now, better done than perfect. I'll just send them out as they are now, and they'll be good reminders.
Yeah, perfect. Awesome. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Thank you.
Out as they are, because I didn't quite get everything, and I would love your notes. So
I'll do them now. I'll try and do them as soon as we've got off the call.
Yeah, but don't worry about being pretty.
Okay,
they
good.
can, however they can. That's cool.
That's my feeling too at this stage.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. Cheers.
Okay, cheers. Cheers, Lars.
Cheers. Bye, Mary.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Cheers, Nix.
Thanks, Nix.
Cheers. Hello, Jode.
Thanks, Nix. That was great.
Pleasure. I hope it was helpful, and I hope little Shani had a happy birthday the other day.
Yeah, she did. Thank you. Yeah, it was it was good. Thank you. Got lots out of that. So well done.
Oh, cool. Thank you. Pleasure.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, something I've been wanting to do for ages, and I've been wanting to do little videos of each of the oils, so that people can sort of click on them. But this is quite a nice way of just doing this, and then now I've actually got the information, so I can do little videos, so that when people start using the oils, they've got resources that are easy to access.
Yeah, and apparently we've all got a lot of time in the next few weeks to do these things. So yeah, that's good.
And I've got some very keen videographers. William and Finn are very keen to help me video and to make it more punchy, because they were very disappointed in the quality of the previous videos.
Dear. Oh well. That's cool. Anyway, Shem, I hope you get a little bit of your evening left, but thanks for a nice talk. Yeah, it's good.
Cool. Nice to have you on.
Right, thanks. All right, cool. Cheers there. Bye.
Doug, nice to have you on here. Is it Doug or Lee?
Neither.
Yeah.
Well done. Next, really, that was great, hey?
Was it helpful?
Yeah. Very, very helpful. Yeah, yeah. I think people are going to, I think if we can do this more and more often,